A sociologist once said that the average person will actually impact 10,000 people in a lifetime. Average person. But I think if you live your life in such a way that you're willing to serve and willing to give, right, you'll impact more than 10,000 people in a lifetime. Because when you think about it, yeah, you're more than likely, because it's all about like serving leadership, because giving is receiving turned inside out. So it's about like, how can you give, how can you support, how can you be a blessing to somebody else? Because when you think about it, like in everything I've done and everything you've done, there have been people that actually help you out along the way to achieve what you've done thus far. Nobody's done anything alone. I think that's why it's critical that we be purpose-filled to be willing to give back to others. Hey, how's it going? Instagram Live, Facebook Live. How's everybody doing? We're good. We're queued up. We're making this thing happen. Hey, Estee Hernandez, how are you doing, sister? It has been a minute. Do you hear the instrumental? Do you hear your instrumental right here in the background?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Something nice, something easy, something smooth, because that's how you roll. You know what I mean? You big time. You got your doctorate as well. Man,
Yes,
so how have
sir.
you been doing? How have you been doing? Everything's been going well with you?
Well, thank you, sir. Braving the pandemic, braving everything that's been going on. Thankful, like you said, for another day, another opportunity to live. And so I'm just grateful for that.
Man, you're looking good, man. Don't look like you've aged, man. And we've been knowing
Thank
each other,
you.
man, for over 10 plus years, man. You still look just the same like all those many years ago when we first connected, man. So everybody who's actually tuning in, we have Estee Hernandez, Dr. Estee Hernandez. She's a part of Team First and Goal as a team member, as a youth service specialist, as a facilitator, as a support team member. We go back with the Journey Beyond Dreams College Experience program, the Prepare to Dream program with Albany ISD. So she's been instrumental in regards to using her influence and her impact over these past number of years with the great work we've done as a collective. Because I've done nothing by myself. It's been individuals like Dr. Estee Hernandez. So Estee, man, thanks for being on the power session with First and Goal. So how have you been doing and what have you been up to?
I've been good. So since the last time we saw each other, I earned my doctorate,
Right.
and now I am teaching at Texas Christian University in the Honors College. I work with remarkable students, teaching them about social justice, about leadership, about impacting change in the community. So
Right.
it's been good, blessed, definitely.
Man, that's amazing. So you have a lot going on right now. So with your capacity of depth in regards to what you do for Texas Christian University, I mean, with everything going on like right now, how has that been in regards to your dialogue and your discussions with the students with all this madness going on? That's the best word I could come up with. It's just like madness. How you been able to kind of, what have you been talking to students about in regards to everything that's actually going on?
Well, for me, for one, it also like is about how I show up in the space, right? Because like we're on Zoom, I know that students are tired. I have a lot of freshmen. Freshmen are asked to be quarantined. They're supposed to be in their little rooms. And I know that we've been doing this for 6 months, right? And so I can't imagine what it's like to have to leave your family. You're thinking you're going into college and it's going to be a whole new experience. And yet you're not having that traditional experience. You're in this little itty bitty box confined in that space. And so we've seen that mental health has been an issue with students. And so for me, that means that I have to show up in a space eager, excited. I'm excited to see their faces. I'm grateful that they showed up today.
Right.
And that way, I hope that that kind of helps them with their energy level, recognizing that they're appreciated, that they're loved, that their presence is important, and without them it would not be the same. And so that's first and foremost what I try to do, is just make sure that they know that their perspectives and just them being there is appreciated.
Got
But for me, it's been really important in thinking about just how I think as youth don't necessarily think of themselves as change agents. It's something that happens later, right? Like, oh, after I get a degree, or after I'm a professional, or after I do XYZ, then I can do whatever I need to do to make change. And I try to remind students that you can make change right now. That if you think about, like, historically, it's been the youth that have been, really instrumental in social change, in civil rights movements. Nick was a bunch of college students, right? And so you have to think about how, like, people already have the capacity to affect change. They just have to be fearless, right? They have to build coalitions. They have to find other people who can complement their strengths, people who are equally passionate about an issue, and just be bold and affect change that way. So I try to remind students that they're already capable of effective change. They're already leaders, right? And they can already do what they are set out to do and what they feel is important to them in their lives. So telling them that yes, this is temporary, the pandemic is temporary, we're going to get through it, and also you have the capacity to build change.
Man, that's awesome, man. And so with all, I heard the passion in your voice. And so with all the passion and purpose in your current position, like where did this actual love come from? Where did the love come from? Like what's the story and the journey about Dr. Estee Hernandez? You know, background by family. Did they have anything to do with the passion and love and position and purpose that you actually have right now?
I think so. I think so. I'm from an immigrant family. My family and I immigrated from Mexico when I was a little kid. And my parents in Mexico, it's kind of the opposite, where like high school, elementary school is you have to pay for it, but college is free. So like the
Mhm.
opposite of the United States.
Right,
And so my parents didn't go past like middle school
right,
in Mexico. So they're not like formally educated. I would say that their lives have educated them, but not in the
right,
same
right.
way. And so whenever I remember what it was like to immigrate, I grew up knowing that like I was going to go to college. My family was not going to have the means to get me there. And so I knew that I had to hustle, get good grades, work really
Yeah.
hard to earn scholarships. And that's how I ended up at Baylor University. And just grateful for that opportunity that I had to attend. However, I knew that like me being at that space, me being able to go to college wasn't just about me. It was about the sacrifices that my parents made so that
Right.
we could get there. It was about knowing that I was a minority in that space. And so recognizing that I was, whether I liked it or not, a role model for other students to follow, right? And knowing that the degree was not about me, it's about the community. It's about paving the way. It's about opening doors and pulling people up behind me. And I think that that's where that comes from. It comes from knowing at home that my parents knew that I had a responsibility, not just to myself, but to everyone around me, to be able to create spaces and open doors for others. And I really think that that's where my passion came from, a tremendous responsibility for the honor of our community, of Latinx community, first generation students, low income students, and all that. Like, I really feel passionate about creating opportunities for kids in college who want to be successful and affect change. So I think that that's where that comes from.
Man, thank you, man, for sharing that, man. I mean, that's been you, man, since I've known you as a graduate student. When we connected years ago, and you was actually initially a camp counselor for the Journey Beyond Dreams program,
Mhm.
where we were primarily working with minority students, Black students, Latino students, right, from the inner city of Houston, from 5 local high schools in Houston Independent School District, and that's how we connected. And with you being a graduate student, you want to serve and support, and you were willing to serve and support beyond the program and the work that we did there at Baylor University. So when I think about the longevity of First and Gold as we prepare to celebrate 20 years as an
Mhm.
organization, it's been individuals like yourself who've actually been instrumental in the work that we've done with the thousands and thousands of students that we've actually impacted over 20 years. So just to have this opportunity to connect with you and to see where you are and how much you've grown, it's truly like an honor and a blessing for me, because I know you have a pure heart, especially when it comes to working and serving those underserved students. I mean, so that's pretty much the wheelhouse that we've been in regards to the work
Mhm.
that we do with First and Go Inc. Supporting those who are actually less fortunate, supporting those who are underserved, and supporting those who are actually well deserved as well. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it's all about like making a difference. And so when you think about the big picture about living life and living life to the fullest in regards to leading, let's go into the first point. Like, what does actual leadership mean to you when you think about leadership in regards to your life and where you are right now, and just that word in general? What does a word like leadership mean to you?
So I have a little bit of a background in research on leadership, and so I'm really
Okay.
passionate about it, especially thinking about underserved communities and low-income minority communities and such. I think of leadership as not just like you're on a pedestal, you're at the CEO of a company. I think that when we
Right.
think about leaders, we think about those as like very typical examples, but I think that everyone has a capacity to be a leader.
Right.
It's not like, oh, I'm a born leader or I have specific traits that make me a leader. No, I think that every student, every person is a leader. They have the capacity to do that already because their special, unique skills are important to the game. right? And so I would love to live in a world where everybody sees themselves as leaders, because we know, like through research, that minority students, women, low income students are less likely to see themselves as leaders than are the majority, right? And so what is it about that? It's partly due to the fact that, you know, society continues to tell us that we're not good enough, right? But we
Hmm.
have to believe in our heart otherwise. We have to know that, like, no, I'm a leader already. I have the capacity to do what I want to do and what I need to do to further myself out there. So first and foremost, I think everybody can be a leader. Everybody has the capacity of being a leader. And your leadership, just the way you are, is important and is valuable. So it's not necessarily about like, what leadership position can I have? What,
Right.
you know, president of an organization, XYZ. No, it's about like, what can I do to cultivate the skills that I've already got so that I can contribute to such and such team, so I can contribute to such and such movement. So for me, it's about cultivating what you already have as your strengths. It's about showing up just the way you are, because what you already are is valuable. And it's
Right.
about recognizing your capacity for leadership is already inside of you.
Right. That's awesome, man. And then just even helping those students even manifest it as well, because that's pretty much like your role at the honors college, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you know, when you told me about your role and your position and what you do in regards to supporting, you know, minority students, I mean, that's pretty much phenomenal. Can you share with the audience again about your role and position with Texas Christian University?
So I teach a class called College Life and Identity. I teach other classes as well, but I was primarily hired to teach this class. And so this class really helps students realize who they are. Like, what is their identity? What are all the pieces of who they are, and makes them important? Like, yes, we have our values that we got from our families and maybe like church or maybe school, but where do they come from and why are they important to us, right? And what does that mean for like future career goals? What does that mean for us as leaders? What does that mean for us as people who want to contribute to communities, etc.? But then I also asked them to think about, in terms of just like power and privilege, right?
Right.
About like how our standing in this world is different from the next person because of the color of our skin, because of where we came from, because of our nationality, maybe. And just thinking about all those dimensions that also make up of who we are in our identity. We think about how, like, okay, college, because the class is called College Life, like we think of college as like, oh, wait till you get to the real world. But
Right.
really, college life imitates life. It is
Right.
already there, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so helping students think like the same kind of dynamics that are present in college about inequality, about leadership, about that hustle, that's real life already, right? And so how can you like replicate those experiences in a way that you know what you need to do after you graduate, right?
Right.
Like, how can you already exercise your leadership now so that you're ready to go when you graduate, so you can prepare yourself to be where you need to be? So I really love the work that I do. I work with phenomenal students. If anyone wants to talk about the Honors College, Texas Christian, just hit me up. We are very passionate about what we're already doing with students and equipping them as leaders, and hope to have you there too.
Hey, big ups to Texas Christian, man. I mean, thanks for sharing that plug. And yeah, definitely, if you want to reach out to Esty, man, she's at Texas Christian University. They're in the DFW area. So is it Fort it's in Fort Worth, right?
Yes, right,
Right,
yes.
right. Fort Worth, Fort Worth. I mean, so man, that's phenomenal, man. I want to come and sit on the class. Can I have like a virtual visit one day to like one of your
We can
classes?
arrange something. You can have like a MOOC, like a learn as you go type of hybrid. We can work something.
Yeah, I'm just sit in, man, just so you do your thing, man, because it's really phenomenal to see, you know, what you're doing now and just really being instrumental in the foundational work that we did with First and Go like years ago with our Journey Beyond Dreams college experience program with minority and first generation college students. And so next point I want to talk to you all about that you're going to talk to the audience about is like life. So when you think about like, you know, where you are right now in life and you think about life as a whole, like what do you think about the world we live in today, and then the life that we have to live in the world that we live in today?
I think we all, whether we accept it or not, have a responsibility to do something in whatever
Right.
way makes sense for us, in whatever ways we can, because I know that all of us are juggling tons of responsibilities to our families, to our loved ones in school, maybe. And so maybe we're not necessarily out there protesting. We're not necessarily out there, you know, like tangibly making changes happen. But what are you doing right now, right? Like,
Right.
what kind of conversations are you having with your loved ones and your friends? what kinds of dialogues are you participating in and like community level, right? Like what are the ways that you're like learning if you're not feeling like I don't know what's going on, but maybe I could learn? What are the ways that you're taking the time to learn about what's going on in the current issues that are affecting our society? So you might think, well, I don't got time. Well, I'm just one person, right? But then we think about like maybe in a history class and we're reading about the civil rights movement and we're like, oh, well, what would I have done if I had been
Right.
alive in the 60s, right? Well, we're living it right now, right? We're living in our
True.
current movement, right? And so what it's hard to think about like, oh, well, what would I have done then? It's like, no, what are you doing right now, right?
Right.
And so you may not necessarily be able to like join a group or anything like that, but are you at least paying attention to the conversation, right? And are you at least like shaping hearts and minds with your loved ones, right? With your friends? Are you asking them to think a little bit differently? Like that's all it takes. If every single one of us had these conversations with one another and tried to reach some sort of understanding, I think we'd be in a much better place, right? But we can't be sitting on the sidelines. We have to get in the game, right? Whatever
Yeah.
way makes sense because we all got a lot of stuff we're juggling, but really putting yourself out there, learning and growing and being that part of that change is what's really important today, right? Because we don't want to think back like, man, I should have done this different. Man, I should have been more involved. No,
Yeah.
man, get involved now, right? And just take the time to learn and grow.
Man, Esther, that's so appropriate that you would say that because with everything going on, we're like a world and a country divided right now. I
Mhm.
just left my chiropractor earlier today, this morning getting adjusted, brother body jacked up from the game of football. So I got to go to the chiropractor at least 2, 3 times a week, right? And so we were sitting there and we were just talking this morning. Here it is, I'm a black man and he's a white man. And he was just like, Tyrone, with everything going on, man, I can't believe what happened because there was a Hispanic guy here in Houston that we just found out that was shot over 21 times. 4 officers were just fired, right? And he was just like, Tyrone, how wild and crazy this world is that we live in. You mean to tell me the 4 officers, they couldn't like tackle the guy to restrain him? They had to shoot him like 21 times to continue to tase him. And he's like, man, what is going on with the world? I said, Doc, man, we just a country divided, but here it is, you're a white man, I'm a black man, and we're having this conversation, and we have to continue to have these conversations. You have to continue to have conversations with people that are part of your circle of influence, who may be
Mhm.
ignorant to understanding about the social injustice and different things going on. But we have these healthy conversations, although we grew up on different sides of the railroads, or different sides of the
Mhm.
town of the fence. We have these conversations. I think that's the thing that needs to happen. Then there needs to be action behind the conversations as well.
Yes.
So, man, keep doing what you're doing in regards to empowering those young people by living their life to the fullest, but living it the right way to bring
Right.
about change. I think because we're all called to make a difference in the world that we live in, flat out, and I'm
Mhm.
just happy to see what you're doing and how you're using your influence and like taking it to the next level. So big ups to you. Holla, holla. All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Right. Okay. So when you think about that, then we talked about leadership. We talked about life, and so when you think about like the term or the word legacy, what does the word legacy mean to Dr. Estee? And first of all, everybody, I used to call her Estee Ostis Spumante. You know what I mean? That was like her nickname. You know what I mean? So, but now, for Dr. Estee Ostis Spumante, you know what I mean? Take this out. When you hear the word legacy or term, like what does that actually mean to you?
I think for me specifically, I think about calling and ministry. Like I think
Yeah.
about how it's not just about being at the pulpit, right? It's not about preaching
Mhm.
necessarily, but it's about finding where the community need is and where your
Right.
passions intersect,
Right.
right?
Right.
I think just like I was saying earlier, we all have beautiful strengths that are already inside of us that have been
Mhm.
cultivated and nurtured in us. And so it's a matter of like, okay, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm good at. Where's the community need? And where can we meet in the middle? Right. And I think that it's not about how much money you make. I mean, although that is important, right? Like we got to live. I think it's about like, what am I doing to affect change from where I'm standing? Right. Like, what am I doing to live a life that is worth living, a life that is worth saving, a life that is worth replicating for people? Because if we're minorities and we have overcome all these obstacles, people are looking to us whether we like it or not, right?
Right.
And so, in what ways am I living every single day a life of integrity so that other people can see that and see themselves in this position so that they too know that they can achieve this, right? Like, I mean, my friend and I, one of my Black male colleagues and I would talk about how we were pushing through the doctorate for those decimal points, because already very few people in the United States have a doctorate, let alone minorities, right? Let alone first generation people, right? Let alone people who came from low income families, right? And so I look at my campus, and while I'm grateful for all that TCU is doing towards diversity, I still see that there's not enough minority faculty and working at TCU, right? So I know, and I'm already working with a lot of Hispanic students, right? So that they can cultivate their leadership and their skills so they can succeed, right? There needs to be
Yeah.
more people like us. And so for me, my calling and my legacy is to what can I do to create opportunities for more diverse faculty? But that's
Right.
just me. Like, what is everybody's legacy? What are your passions? What do you care about? What is the need that you see there? And how can y'all meet in the middle so that you know that you're doing everything you can to live a life worth saving?
Man, that's major, man. Because I think, everybody need to pretty much understand and know that they actually have a specific legacy in their life that they
Mhm.
live. But you got to lead yourself first and foremost. Like you said earlier, we all have the capacity to lead, but it's
Mhm.
about manifesting the internal um, compass that's actually within you to kind of like go and do it the right way.
Mhm.
And be big picture in your thinking, because there's a reason why we're all here. We all can
Mhm.
call to action, but we have to be about the action and do it the right way, like you said. I mean, integrity is big, doing the right thing when nobody is looking, because knowing and realizing before you can lead anybody else, you first have to lead yourself. And so, man, you're
Mhm.
right on point, man. I can tell, what I'm saying, you're doing it big time because you broke it down, sister. You know what I mean? You doing your thing. You know what I mean? I'm so happy. I'm so proud of you, of the success that you're having right now and the impact that you're making. So I'm just glad to be a part of your life as a friend, as a compadre in this great work of life changing. And so I'm just glad that you were able to just connect and tune in today. And anybody, hey, connect with Dr. Esther Hernandez, right? You have a website. What's your website? What's your website?
STHernandez.com. You can learn a little bit about me. There's a contact form on there if you don't know how to reach me. I'm on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Twitter, Estee Hernandez. And I'm here really just to make an impact in higher education. So anyone who's trying to figure out how to get to college, anyone who's thinking about graduate school, especially if you're a minority and thinking about what opportunities are out there for you, I can do my best to. If I can't answer the question, I can find somebody who can, right? And if you're really passionate about going into like working at higher education as well, like I can definitely help you out there.
Man, good stuff, man. Everybody, man, thanks for tuning in, man. And hey, Esther, check this out. We have a special announcement with First and Goal as well. Here we go,
Uh-huh.
right here. You heard it first. I'm bringing it to everybody live. So with First and Goal Inc., we've actually going to do a residency with the organization at the McNair Center for Entrepreneurship and Free Enterprise at Houston Baptist University. Yes, I'm going to do a residency, and they're going to incubate First and Goal with the different work that we do in the entrepreneurship program led by Dr. Clark. They're going to help expand the depth and capacity that we have to offer as an organization. Yeah, we've been operating for 20 years, but yet we can do it better. So we're
Mhm.
going to incubate First and Goal with the McNair Center Entrepreneurship Free Enterprise Program starting actually this month, right? Going to be
Wow.
working with graduate students, going to be working with the university, with the different things that we're doing, going to expand our reach to different communities here in the greater Houston area, in Fifth Ward and Third Ward, and other areas of town where there are great needs with underserved and underrepresented students. And so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity in regards to us partnering with Houston Baptist University. So I'm really like super excited. I'm going to be bringing you in with some different things we're going to be talking about and doing as far as building initiatives to actually add more depth to what we already do as an organization. So I'm super excited to partner with Houston Baptist University and the McNair Center for Entrepreneurship and Free Enterprise. So that's truly like some exciting information that I'm grateful and thankful for, man. So things don't happen by accident. I think when you just
Amen.
have a heart to do things the right way, God honors that. And so, to him be all the glory. I've done nothing by myself. It's been individuals like you, my family, Monica, the whole team, for us to be able to do what we've done. So, I'm excited, man. That's the special announcement I told you about that I wanted to kind of share. So you heard it first, everybody else heard it first. And so, man, I'm super excited about that. It's all about depth, and it's all about like legacy, keeping it going
Yeah.
beyond, this bald head guy is gone. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking forward to just new things to come. I'm grateful and thankful to still do the work. I still have fun. It don't seem like work to me only when I have to do paperwork. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. On
Yeah.
paperwork.
But I still have fun, man, every day. And I'm thankful for that. And so even with this particular session that we're actually doing with the power session, do you know this thing is like going global, right? So if somebody misses it, they can go to alwayspressrecord.com with my boy Trey. So we actually have a menu and everything designed. It's on Google Play, it's on Roku, where people in Belgium are actually watching us every week in regards to seeing what we're doing and what we're talking about. So girl, you're gonna be in Belgium, right? And somewhere else, I don't know where, but you'll be.
Yeah. Well.
You know what I mean? So you just roll with it, right? You just roll with it. So I'm just super excited, man. So big ups to my boy Trey, alwayspressrecord.com, man, for helping produce the show and the segment so we can take it to another level. And Estee, hey, man, thank you, man, for tuning in, for being a part of the First and Gold Power Session, where virtually we can mentor and lead people who need wisdom, guidance, knowledge, insight, and love from individuals like you who've been a part of this great work for almost 20 years, right? In October.
That's right.
Good deal.
Derek, I'm excited to be a part of it. I am grateful and I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh no, man, always, man. We're gonna do it again. You know, we're gonna do it again because you guys have been knocking out the park. Everybody who I brought on, man, all of the guests that have been tied with the organization that are doing phenomenal things. So it's good to kind of just see what everybody have going on and the growth and the depth and the excitement and the love and just living out your purpose and passion. It's always good to see, always good to actually hear. So I just thank you, sister. You know what I mean? I salute you for doing it, you know, big girl style. Man, for everybody in the world, you know, the Latin X family, you know what I mean? You know, right? You know, big time. Hey, any closing notes or thoughts before we kind of get ready to roll out?
I just want people to just persevere through this pandemic. Like, I know people are feeling really lonely. People, anxiety is through the roof. People, there's more depression that's also going on as well. And I just really encourage people to take care of themselves, to talk with somebody if they need to talk with somebody, to know that your life and your presence is valuable and important in this world, and to just find whatever support you might need to persevere. Like, we're all in this together. And so find whatever resources you might need to do better and to do good and to feel better about yourself. So.
Hey, I can't follow that, man. Hey, if you need help, go get some help. You know what I mean? Big up to you, Dr. Estee Hernandez. Appreciate you, sister. Love
Likewise, you good sir.
Keep doing what you do. We fading out. We chunk your deuce. All right. Good stuff.
NFL turned mentor / author / soldier on the front line of change. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tyrone Smith. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Man, good morning, KG, man. Thankful and grateful to be here, brother.
Do you understand, realize, and know your purpose and your plan based on the influence that God has given each and every one of you in regards to your lives that you have as individuals? Do you know that you're destined to be great?
What is a collective group dynamic for your guys' team? Everybody want to win. But the thing about it is, you have to be willing to win. You have to be willing to commit yourself to whatever it is you need to do daily to be the best that you can be. Leaders. But the thing that you must understand in regards to your life, you cannot lead anybody else until you lead who first? Yourself. You got to be the example. You got to be the example. Because one thing I want you all to realize and understand about leadership, leadership is influence, and it's all about how you use your influence.
Hi, this is Jennifer Morataya, and I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mr. Tyrone Smith for impacting, empowering, and inspiring our students, our staff, and college leaders. With your high energy, your words of wisdom, and your storytelling, you have kept us all engaged in a virtual space. Not only are you a positive role model for our students, but you have challenged them to take action and become better versions of themselves. So thank you for helping us build tomorrow's leaders today.